Welcome to Single Mom Honey, the podcast dedicated to single moms with a focus on health and money and everything in between.
I'm Quaylin. Oh man, again. I did it again. I'm Quaylin. I focus on the health.
Aisha, and I focus on the money. So you ready to get into this tea, Quay?
Absolutely.
All right. So today we're going to be talking about something that all single moms know, unfortunately, too well. All right?
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where, I won't even say you know it because you don't get to know it. You don't get the time to build that relationship.
You used to know it. Remember that commercial, the NyQuil commercial? Sleep like you never slept. No. It says sleep like you slept before you had kids. And then they are just in these fluffy ass beds and they're like, and
like clouds, like you on cloud nine.
Yeah. Well, that cloud does not exist after you have kids.
It does when you're on vacation and you want to go and do all the things, but now you finally got some downtime and you sleeping good as heck.
What is a vacation coma?
Listen, the sleep that I get on vacations now when I'm away from my children is like unmatched. Any type of sleep I've ever had before. And I was like, dang, I just slept my whole vacation away. I'm like, well, I guess it was worth it. Okay,
yeah.
I did a couple things here and there. So we're talking about running on empty, sleep deprivation, and the reality of single motherhood.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this while exhausted, while yawning, while feeling like you're barely holding it together, this episode is for us. I wouldn't even say it's for you. It's for us.
If you woke up today and you had mom brain, this episode is for you.
Yeah. Yes.
Brain
Today
fog.
we're talking about sleep deprivation as a single mom, not in a just go to bed earlier kind of way, but in a real honest, like lived experience kind of way. Because when you're parenting alone, sleep isn't just rest, it's a resource. And for many single moms, it's in constant short supply. So let's talk about what sleep deprivation really looks like, how often it affects you, and how to support yourself without shame.
We're going to talk about the reality of sleep deprivation. Now, sleep deprivation isn't just being tired. Now, I'm sure you've experienced this. I feel like I am constantly tired. I sometimes feel like a hamster on a wheel. I sometimes wake up and feel like I am just cycling, like I'm caught in a time warp or like in a time loop. Is that what it's called?
Groundhog's Day syndrome.
Yeah, every day. Wake up doing the same thing. I wake up feeling exhausted, feeling foggy, forgetful. That's called mom brain.
I thought that would have gone away during the newborn stage, though. I didn't know it stayed around.
I think that's when you first notice it during the newborn stage. Like, I used to go to the grocery store and I'd park and I'd come back out and have no idea where I parked.
Oh my God.
Like, it was
to me too.
It was bad. And still to this day, I feel like that happens to me. It's unfortunate. When you're tired, it also makes you a little cranky. So you could be like snappy, a little grumpy.
Yeah.
And then that results in you feeling guilty. Also, when you're tired,
cycle.
Yeah. When you're tired and your hormones are all over the place, you can also be like an emotional basket case because you're so tired, you can't even think straight. So you might just be popping off at anything. Unfortunately for single moms, there's no tap out partner. This is WWE, WWF. You're just fighting the whole fight by your goddamn self.
You your coach, you your trainer, you the referee, you just knocking yourself out.
So, there's no one to take the night shift. And I noticed, for me, even though my kids are a little older now, I remember when they were younger and they would get sick, Lord have mercy. It was like they were popping up like popcorn. One was coughing, I get one to sleep, the next one was coughing, back to sleep, the other two pop back up. And this whole time, I ain't got no sleep. And I still got to get up in the morning, go to work, and do everything because you still have all those expectations, whether you're sleep deprived or not. You're expected to perform at 100% at work while you're momming.
And if you don't perform 100% at work,
Lord have mercy.
Because she's a mom, that's why she can't invest up the management because, she's a human being. Responsibilities.
Exactly.
We don't want that.
Exactly. You still have to show up for everybody, even when you're running on E, running on fumes. You have to be a superhero, but even superheroes need sleep. And we got to remember that.
Yeah. Everyone has to recharge.
So needing sleep is not a weakness. You're either going to go to sleep willingly or your body's going to shut off.
Girl, it's been many a times where I woke up on the couch slumped over and had no idea. I have a laundry basket right next to me, and I have no idea how long I have been asleep. I have no idea. It's just you wake up and you kind of have one of those breaths. You gotta take a deep breath, like, oh my gosh,
Exactly.
what
But
happened? And then you sore. You was all in the crazy position, all curled up, like you still flexible like a newborn. Yeah.
absolutely. But one of the key things we got to remember when it comes to sleep deprivation, it is also very dangerous
Come
for
on,
you
nurse
and your children.
practitioner.
And just wanted to share a personal story. When I was a single mom while technically married, deprivation like almost really took me out.
Oh my gosh.
I was working night shift at the hospital, and my oldest, she was like doing dance competitions at the time. I was working two jobs, doing everything else. I went to work to do the night shift and knew that my daughter had a practice all day the next day. Now, if I had a co parent, or I guess at that time I should have had a partner, we could have split the load, but I was still a single married woman, single
Mhm.
mom slash married woman on paper or whatever,
Yeah.
and anyway, I go to work, I come back, and this is the one thing when you work night shift or you work all day, like you don't really get a break. So you have to be intentional with your breaks or reach out to
Mm.
your community. But at this time, I didn't have the help that I needed.
Mhm.
I went to work, came, took my daughter to her practice. I was trying to nap during the practice, but she needed me to change her costumes and do her makeup. And I didn't have any help. It was just a lot on me, but I had to return back to work that night. So basically, I was up for over 24 hours. And at that point, you are pretty
That's
much drunk
crazy.
on the way to I was pretty much just out of it, and I was still trying to survive because, when I get back to work, I'm still expected to perform at a high standard because at that time I was a bedside nurse.
Mhm.
I got to work and I was fighting for my life at work. I was fighting for my
I
life.
bet you felt loopy, felt like you were
Listen, not even loopy.
floating.
I drank so much coffee that I had heartburn because I was trying to stay up.
Wow.
And then I had this whole plan that I was going to take a nap in my car before I drove to pick up the kids. Now, could the partner, their donor, have picked them up? Absolutely. But
Mm.
all the parenting was left up to me. No matter what suggestions I made, the he was available or not, it was just like it was on me, period.
Mhm.
I remember getting through that shift and I was in tears. I was going to the bathroom like crying. I was so tired. I was crying. Had to come back out, wipe my eyes. I'm over there trying to put paper towels on my face. I remember like I was
Aw.
so tired. Like I was like straight up at my med cart and my knees were buckling. And I'm like, I gotta get through this, gotta get home to the kids. I'll just take a nap when I get to my car. Now, mind you, that was the plan. But when you are this tired, you get mom brain. I got to my car, forgot the whole plan because I was already exhausted.
Okay.
And I started driving. And I was fighting to get to the house because it wasn't really that I had to pick the kids up there at my father's house at the time. He was babysitting when their father could have had them. But again, it was all on
Right.
me.
Enough said.
I was driving to my father's house and I didn't make it. About 2 minutes away from my father's house, I passed out in the vehicle
While driving.
while driving. Yes. Hit about 4 or 5 other cars.
What?
Yes. And I broke my hand.
Oh my
I got a boxer's fracture. So like if I put my fist up, I don't know if you can see the difference. Boxer's fracture was here. So I don't really have a knuckle on this side.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and then my hand was swollen. Everybody called the cops. So they're like, how did this woman crash in broad daylight? And I remember them coming to the car. They're like, have you been drinking? I was like, no, I worked the night shift. They're like, oh, poor baby. And I was like, I think I broke my hand. They was like, are you sure? So I could see it swelling. When I got to the hospital, they had to saw off my wedding ring, and I should have took that as a sign right then.
Girl, I said, if that ain't a sign or
I
a
said,
symbol, I don't
the
know what is.
ancestors was talking, and I'm like, oh, they're gonna cut it. Can I get it fixed? Girl, there was no fixing that shit. My hand was broke. And, I always remember to this day, even after breaking my hand, the person who was supposed to be my partner did not help me. They put a cast on my hand, but it wasn't a removable cast. I tried to go to work with it. They're like, you cannot work like that, and I had just started in a new position, so I couldn't really call off. And it was a lot. So I had to go back to the ER and ask for a removable cast. And I worked for about 8, 9 weeks with a broken hand.
That is
You know,
nuts.
So, anyway, I'm saying all that to say, like, sleep is everything, especially when you are a single mom. Like, your
Yeah.
kids are dependent on you and you are dependent on you. So,
Yeah.
you gotta make sure that you have the village that you need so that you can get the rest that you need because 'cause you're not a superhero. And if you fall asleep behind the wheel or doing something you're supposed to do, I mean, your whole livelihood is at jeopardy, you and your children. I always
In
thank
your
God that
life.
my kid yes, yes, your life. I always thank God that I hadn't picked up the kids and then
Yeah.
fell asleep.
Yeah.
Because I woulda never forgave myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was the only person injured in the accident, but there were a whole lot of
A lot of
cars.
side mirrors though.
Yeah. Oh, man.
RP.
You know what's crazy? I was hitting them and waking up like, "What was that?"
And going back to
Yes! My body straight shut off. It was like, "Girl, you thought we was playing? The plan was to take a nap in the car,
exactly. She
and
don't
you
wanna
didn't.
listen. Look, I'm going on strike.
I'm done."
Okay.
So, let's talk about why single moms struggle with sleep.
Yeah, single moms definitely struggle with sleep because let's name it. Single moms often experience sleep deprivation because of, as you said before, Quay, being a sole caregiver.
Yes, you're the
They
sole
need care.
caregiver. Sometimes
Nobody
you're
else is there to give them
yeah, you're
care.
the only one who cares. It's
See, that's what
unfortunate.
it need to be called. That's what it need to be, being a sole who cares giver. That's what it should be. And then also like the mental load of it all. Like we all talk about the list. The what?
Exactly.
The list.
The list,
Yeah,
the never
financial
ending
stress.
list.
Yeah, the financial stress also being a single mom. Like, you feel like you just like in your story, you didn't feel like you had the privilege, I guess you could say, of resting because you had
Exactly.
to get boom, 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 done. If not, it was never gonna get done because no one else was
And
doing
and it's traumatizing when you don't have a fallback plan or someone to fall back on and
it.
you were
Girl.
expecting that partner to help you. It is traumatizing. Like, I'll never forget having to work with a broken hand. Like, that was very traumatic for me.
Yeah, it's traumatic for me to hear about it. Like, just
And it's
thinking of being up for 24 hours,
yeah, but that wasn't the only time. That was the time that, like, my body was like, "Absolutely not," you
you've
know?
done the 24 hours before?
Well, you got sick kids, you're working, you try to get some sleep, you might nod off for a second.
Yeah, like,
Yes.
more so, like, napping, like, 1 or 2
Yeah,
hours max, and that's
but
so
it's not
unhealthy
even, like,
too.
full sleep because it's
Yeah.
like, "Mama, mom, mom, mom." You ever heard that ringtone that does that?
No,
Oh my
I
god.
don't wanna hear that, it sounds like a nightmare. Why would I put that on my phone?
I don't know. I don't
I don't wanna
know.
hear it in real life.
My friend
You
has
think
it,
about
and I was like,
so as you talked about before, late night planning and problem solving, because
"Mhm,
just because they go to bed with their pretty little selves and their pretty little faces, their pretty little eyes and noses and hands, still things have to be done and things need to be handled, and that falls on you, as the mom.
exactly."
Feel like maybe I had a little bit of anxiety prior to having children, but I feel like it definitely went up to a whole new level once I had my first son.
Absolutely.
Did you feel like you were an anxious person prior to having kids?
Not as anxious, not at all. I think that I was just living before I had kids, doing, living life. And then you become responsible for the lives of others. And there's
Yeah.
like this whole little person depending on you. And then God forbid you got more than one. And then you need to check to make sure they're breathing. I mean, especially when you're a
I
first
used to
time
do
mom.
finger tests all the time,
I was
put
like
underneath their nose, like,
watching,
or I push them, like,
watching. Yeah. You
yeah.
don't hear nothing. You're like, wait a second. Like,
Oh my gosh, yeah, I was so afraid. I was so afraid of that, but I feel like I know I had a panic attack or 2 prior to having
hmm
kids. I do remember having those, and I was like, "What the fuck was that?" I remember the first time I had one, I was like, "Oh
girl.
my gosh, why do I feel this way?" But the amount of anxiety that I've experienced as a single married mom and also as a single mom now is unmatched because I'm so worried about our stability. I say this all the time, stability is very important to me. It's always been important to me, but now
hmm
it's maximized because I have these
Absolutely.
2 people who depend on me for everything.
Absolutely, and it doesn't stop. And I mean, this is the job that keeps on giving. I mean,
Giving or
giving,
taking. Let me stop.
I don't wanna say it's a thankless job, but, like, sometimes it is. Like, you're going to just keep going and going and going, and
Like the Energizer Bunny.
exactly, but you are not the Energizer Bunny. You require
Yes,
fuel and sleep.
listen to us. We are not the Energizer Bunny. We
Like,
have to stop eventually.
there are science-backed consequences of chronic sleep deprivation.
Mhm.
It impacts your brain, your body, your ability to parent. And hopefully today we can tackle like some good sleep hygiene habits or tips. This is not for a person with a silent, empty house.
Yeah.
This is for single moms with kids. Sleep is one of, I think it might be like the eighth wonder. Are there seven wonders in the
Yeah,
world?
7 wonders.
Yeah, I think this might be the eighth wonder. Sleep after kids must be the eighth wonder.
Who's been able to tap into it? There are some moms who are able to hire, sleep nannies, so they come in and do the whole night routine for them when they have a
Mhm.
newborn, and they're never disturbed, like, they just show up at night. They're like those sleep fairies, and then they leave in the morning when the mom wakes up, and that's all that they do. I think that's awesome to
That is
have that
awesome
resource.
if it's in your budget.
Yeah, no, I said to have the resource, if you're able to have that. But I feel like my anxiety comes from, the safety of being at home with the kids,
Mhm.
bills, think about the future. Am I doing everything right? And then my 4-year-old, he just stopped. When I say just stopped waking up in the middle of the night trying to get into my bed. Like, even when the house is quiet, my mind may not be. It's constantly racing. So when I do
Absolutely.
sleep, I don't fall asleep, I pass out. I tell people that. They was like, "Oh, get some sleep." I was like, "I don't know. I ain't been sleeping about 8 years." I was like, "What you talking about?" I'm like, "I'm
Yeah,
passed out. I've been
that's about it.
exhausted."
Just don't pass out in the car or while
Yeah,
you're
just
operating
while
some
I'm
type of
moving car.
machinery
No.
or
Make sure it's
yeah,
parked somewhere safe.
I've passed out plenty of times. Even, when the kids were younger, I would try to, like, co-sleep with them, like, during their nap time.
I never got that. I was never able to
Listen,
do it.
well, I would breastfeed them to sleep, and I'd be sleeping too, and
Mm.
then once they were in their toddler phase and then, like, preschool, oh my god, like, I was scared to sleep. I remember my middle child, I was pregnant, and she was toddling.
Mhm.
And we were taking a nap, but she woke up before me. Like I said, like you said, passing out is different than sleep. When you're completely exhausted, I probably worked a night shift, came in, tried to watch her during the day. It's like, oh, it's nap time. I woke up to zoop. That's the sound I woke up to.
What was it?
She stuck something in a socket.
Oh
Yes.
my
And
gosh.
like was thankful that it was like on a surge protector. Like, you know what I mean?
Anything coulda happened.
Anything could have happened. And I had passed out. And it wasn't that I was neglecting my child.
You were pregnant. You were growing
Pregnant,
another one.
working, getting no help from the partner, like,
Mhm.
responsible for everything. You can't do everything. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, to the best of my ability, I would always try to keep my kids safe. But, they're so curious at that age. When kids are quiet, they're
Mhm.
into something.
Yep. Even now when I hear my kids being quiet, "What y'all doing? What's
Mhm.
going on?" You gotta put a little bass in your voice to try to,
Exactly.
wake them up or figure out what's going on. So, alright, so we went ahead and gave you the reality of it and then why single moms struggle with sleep. But, Quay, let's talk about the invisible costs of chronic exhaustion.
Okay. There are invisible costs of chronic
I feel like I deal with
exhaustion,
them regularly.
but they become visible as the time goes along.
Mhm.
So, chronic sleep deprivation, it affects more than just your energy levels. It affects your emotional regulation. Like, if you thought you got up on the wrong side of the bed before you had kids, wait till you try to figure out which side of the bed you're supposed to get out because you was just sleepy and your brain is all fogged up and you are running on fumes. It affects your
Mm.
decision making. It affects your memory and your focus. Like, all the days just start running together. Like I said, you're like a hamster on a treadmill. It affects your health. Your immune system takes a huge hit when you don't get enough
Yeah.
sleep.
Yeah.
You become
I used to notice
susceptible
I would
to
get sick all the time
exactly.
when my kids were waking up multiple times throughout the night.
Yeah. So imagine that and working night shift and kids going to school picking up all of the germs they can get. You
Perfect
know,
little petri dish.
that's what I call them. That's what I call them. And then more importantly, it affects like your mood and your mental health as well as your physical health. So,
I remember
mhm,
probably like 2 years ago or so,
mhm,
had like I wanna say a mini mental breakdown or so
mhm,
in my mother's living room because she's like, "Come get your kids, come get your kids." Now, my mom does help me a lot with my children, and she does,
yeah,
she's definitely has been there, a huge support for me.
mhm,
But I was so sleep deprived, I couldn't do it. Like, I
mhm.
came to pick them up, and I was like, "Could you just keep them for one night and let me get some rest?" My mom was from the old school. She's like, "No, these are your kids. You take care of them." Okay, but It's not like I'm asking you to watch him so I can go out to the club.
Mhm.
It's not like I'm asking you to watch him so I could go on vacation. I'm going home to sleep. I need sleep. She's like, you done lost your damn mind. Get out of my house. Because she was like, I was just acting weird and off. Why didn't you see
You were
that I needed to
exhausted.
sleep? I was shaking. I felt like I was floating. I felt like my feet weren't hitting the ground.
I know that feeling all too well.
But it was like a plea for help. But at the same time, I don't feel,
You weren't
felt like
supported the way
the
that you
the
needed to be.
support was not there when I needed it. Now, has the support been there before or after? Yeah, but at that moment, I felt like I was at my breaking point. I felt like I was about to hit him with some side mirrors and stuff with my kids in the car.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah, and it's like, there I go for asking. There I go for asking. But that's why a lot of single moms don't. And that's one of the topics we're going to be
right,
talking about is how you
because they get
create.
mom guilt.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
sometimes that comes from the people who are supposed to be supporting us or who
yeah.
you think should be supporting you. And when
Or
you're
just when you
exhausted,
really need it the most.
exactly. But when you're exhausted, you realize that everything seems so much heavier. Like the idea of like cooking or just like doing laundry. Like sometimes I would just look and I'm like, this house is a mess, but I got nothing left. Like, like I got nothing. Like,
Mhm.
I don't even wanna move, and, that can impact your mental health like we were saying before. It's directly linked to heightened anxiety, depression. You get
Yeah.
depressed, irritability, and it's hard to come out of it. Your emotional resilience is impacted when you are completely exhausted.
I wasn't at the bottom of the barrel. My barrel didn't have no bottom. Like, that's how far I was at that time. And I just felt like I couldn't get a win. I just could not get a win, and there was nothing
Mhm.
for me to do other than go home and mom. Because what other choice do I have?
Exactly.
Be a
You
deadbeat?
don't have another choice, right. And then, you think about your brain and how your brain needs sleep, period. Because you work with the numbers, I work with health, we need our cognitive performance and,
Yes.
like, we need it to be top tier to complete our jobs because
People can
you gotta
die.
make sure. Yeah, people can die and you could fuck up somebody's money, like,
Yeah.
and that's just not where it's at, you know?
Mhm.
It's just so important because like I was saying before, it's hard to make even simple decisions when you're exhausted. Your reaction time is off. I think like legally when I didn't sleep for over 24 hours, I could have been like at the same cognitive ability as a person who was drunk,
Mm.
right? So basically I was drunk driving,
Yeah.
but off of no sleep.
Yeah.
Like, and that's crazy. Imagine trying to do your job like that. Imagine trying to mom like that. Imagine trying to cook or just fulfill all the other roles that you have to fulfill. Like, it's pretty much impossible.
Yeah.
And then let's talk about like your physical health, the impacts. So when you have a weakened immune system, you already know you can catch everything. But remember, when you catch everything and you still don't get any sleep, you just keep weakening and weakening and weakening your immune system, and it
Look,
gets worse and worse.
you gonna slow down or your body gonna shut down. That's
Exactly.
just like your story, what happened to you. You gonna
Exactly.
slow down, me passing out on the couch, waking up like, "How did I get here? Why am I twisted up like a pretzel?" Slumped over looking
Exactly.
like Cousin Benny. Or what is that one movie, A Weekend at Bernie's or something like
I
that?
know what you're talking about. I'm not a movie buff
Yeah,
because
okay,
I have
yeah.
mom brain. I usually liken mom brain to like a table. You have all this shit on the table. When you add something new, something just fall off. It'd be the movies for me.
I'm not gonna remember all that shit. I'm not. So, you touched on the guilt factor. That's another huge part about sleep deprivation. Like, you feel guilty for resting. You feel guilty for being a
Exactly.
human being who needs to recharge. You think that dollar feel guilty? You think that father feel guilty?
Absolutely
You think
not.
those grandparents feel guilty? You think those
Absolutely not.
godparents feel guilty?
Nope.
No. No one
And
else is feeling
everyone's gonna
guilty.
have something to say anyway. So
Yeah. Yeah.
listen.
I don't carry the guilt about rest anymore. Now my kids are older now. Granted, when they were younger, I was like
Mhm,
you. I was afraid to fall asleep. I was
mhm.
afraid to close my eyes for too long, or somebody's gonna fall on the steps and break their neck, or somebody's gonna get a crown stuck in their eye or something like that. I'd be like just staring up. They'd be like, "Who's the weirdo over here? How long? Why she keep staring at me?" And I'm like, blink, blink, afraid to go to sleep.
Mhm.
But I used to have guilt for wanting to sleep instead of being productive, doing the laundry, cooking, washing the dishes, ordering their toys or putting their toys in order or stuff like that. I used to worry about things like that because I felt like that was the expectation of a mom, was to have a tight tidy house and also
Listen,
to have children who were being stimulated in a positive way at home.
my house is lived in. I will say that.
My house is now, but
Yeah,
I had distorted mindset of what I thought motherhood was when I
yes.
first got my son.
I also want to touch back on physical health again. So, like, when you aren't sleeping right, you're exhausted. And then, like, what about exercise, right?
Mm,
If you're too exhausted to exercise, you get in this cycle, this vicious cycle of
yes.
a lifestyle that is not suitable for you and your kids, right? Because you need to exercise. Your body
Yeah.
needs it. You're at risk of increased weight gain,
Yep.
high blood pressure, diabetes,
Mhm.
heart disease.
That's taking you earlier from your kids. So, yeah.
Exactly. And
Or
think
not for the
about it.
quality of life.
Exactly. When you're constantly under stress with no sleep, your cortisol levels just go higher and higher
Yeah.
and higher. And the impact of that can be devastating for your body. So, you got to make sure you're getting your sleep and staying on top of your health.
Yeah. I love that you brought that part because a lot of moms deal with that. Oh, this baby weight or something like that. Or, it's
You're
hard for me to
stressed.
work out because I just got to focus on the kids. Well, see, I gained so much weight from baby one and baby two to
Mm-hmm.
pre and post divorce. So I get it. You put your focus on other things. And I really want us to be able to talk about that as well. How to fit in little small things when it comes to our health. On top of also realizing that mom guilt of
Mm-hmm.
I used to have a real big mom guilt. I was anti screens before I had kids.
Listen.
I was anti-screens until my mom bought my oldest a tablet when he was 3 or 4, and I was like, "Why would you buy him a tablet? He doesn't need anything." This, that, other. Look, the tablet has saved me many a times.
Exactly.
Alright?
I think you're unrealistic when you're a first time mom. You want to do everything right and then you go
Yes.
overboard. You go crazy.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know.
I judged other parents until I had kids. I was like, "Oh."
Listen, people got it. They got the whole plan down pat with no kids. And when you get the
Yeah.
kids, everything you plan goes out the door.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
everything with moderation. You don't want them on the screen the whole time, but shit, you got to take a nap.
You have
That
some
screen is
days to
wonderful.
listen. I like to have a timer on Hey Google or Alexa and let them know once that timer go off, you need to put it down and go do something else. Go play with something else. Let's go color. Let's go something like that. But there's been many a times where, look, put it on a charger. And once it charged back up, then go ahead and go right back to it because I can't
Listen,
do
you
nothing
got to
else
get your
right now.
rest. You got to do what you got to do. You got to be strategic.
Yeah, and I can't worry about what's the impact of how this gonna hurt them in the next 10 to 15 years if I can't make it the next 10 to 15 minutes. I
Right.
can't think about that. I have to put myself first sometimes, and that means that
Exactly.
I'm not
And I
parenting
mean,
just with a screen, but a screen has been beneficial for me. I'm not letting that mom guilt get me anymore.
not at all. And screen time can be educational. You can put locks on the tablets
Mhm,
and, time allowances on the tablets where they'll shut off and they can't access them. There are a lot of things you can do, but
mhm.
utilize it to your advantage because you need to get that sleep.
Yeah,
Also, you gotta think about saying no to extra responsibilities. No is a full sentence. Remember that. Like,
I have no problem with it now.
yeah, but in the beginning, you still have that mom guilt and it carries over into everything. Like, you're like, am I doing enough here? Am I doing enough there? You get unsure of yourself. So you're like taking on shit that you really don't need to take on. Like,
Mhm.
but you got to learn how to say no. And
Yeah.
I'm good at it now.
But then
Absolutely
you're
not.
mean, you're this g look, whatever, I'm a mom. Call me whatever label you need. I really don't feel like you should be asking single moms for this stuff. Like, when I think about it, like, how selfish of you to be coming to a single mom and expecting to add more to her plate. Now, it's different
Exactly.
when we both on the same playing field. I'm a single
Mhm.
mom, you're a single mom. We could build a community. Versus somebody who's single, ain't got no kids. I'm not saying I can't offer some things in a friendship or whatever, but if you always leaning on me and I'm the one with all this extra weight on my shoulders, I'm not sure about that. Like, I feel like my people that ask for help, usually I'll ask the single moms last.
I know that's right.
But
And be wary of anyone you're dating. If they're asking you for help when you're a single mom, cut them the fuck off.
that's what I'm saying.
Like,
Like
that
that
just
as well. Like even friends too. Like
sometimes you gotta be like, look, you see what I got going on, so you clearly don't care.
you can add one more thing to the pile. You be all right. You're
No, I'm a
good at
superhero
this.
for these kids, not for the whole universe. Right. Just remember that rest is not a reward.
Yeah.
It is a must. It is a
Yeah.
must. You need it. You can only be productive when you're well rested. You know, You can't keep going and running off of fumes. So you got to feed yourself so you can feed others, take care of yourself so you can take care of others. So let's talk about realistic support strategies. Sleep hygiene for the real world.
Right.
Now, we know what the problem is that we need more
We ain't
sleep.
getting no fucking sleep.
Right.
Shit. That's what the
And
problem is.
exactly. And some people will be like, just go to bed earlier. You know it doesn't work like that for single moms. You can
Right.
try, but something happens. Life starts lifing, you know, you got laundry to fold, emails to attend to, like what we really got to think about is reframing our sleep hygiene. Thinking about things that are more practical, incremental, sleep when you can,
Yeah.
and forgiving. Being forgiving to yourselves. Every night doesn't have to have a perfect routine, but try to make the best of it.
Make a simple one. Don't make it so intricate that you get tired thinking about the routine to get you some good sleep. Like, make it simple. Kiss. Keep it simple, stupid.
Exactly.
Just do what works for you. Like, lower the lights,
Yeah.
maybe stretching prior to getting into the bed, deep breathing, not being on that phone. I know we
Ex-
like to doom scroll thinking that's going to help us soothe us like it's a pacifier to put us to bed. No, it's
no,
igniting that nervous system in that brain. Let's go ahead and let
exactly.
them get some rest too, because they've been on fire all day long.
I think it's important to reframe self-care because we always feel like mom guilt for self-care. Like we should be doing something else for somebody else,
Hmm.
right? As like system maintenance, like we got to keep the system
Mechanical
going.
maintenance.
Exactly, on the mom. You need that. So it's not always that you need a bubble bath. It's not always that you need something, but whatever works for you, you need to do that. Self-care. If it's that glass of wine before bed, or if it's snuggling up with your favorite book, or if it's you just need to watch one episode of your show, or, sit on the porch, enjoying the breeze. I don't know. Whatever you need to do it. Self-care is for you so that
Yeah,
you can recharge.
but you definitely just need to give your body the A-OK. It's all right to rest. We could let out
Exactly.
that deep breath of, today wore me out. But I'm gonna get some
Mhm.
rest so I can start tomorrow and be a better me. So, yeah.
Yeah. So ultimately, if full sleep isn't possible each night, you want to make sure that you are getting or creating times for these micro rest moments, meaning that you need to take power naps. Those are real. Like,
I didn't believe in them before, but
girl,
now if I give me a good 10, 20 minutes, I pop up like I'm Muhammad Ali. Float like a butterfly, stay like me. Like I'll be like, all right, what's next? I'm up. Yeah, they do work.
exactly. And then, remember to take a pause. Like, you might not have your sleep ritual down pat, but just take a pause. Like, if you need to, just breathe, maybe journal, write down your list that you completed for the day, just
Get
reflect
it
a
out your
little bit.
head.
Yeah, get it out your head. Write it all down so that you don't got to be thinking about it in your sleep. Because the
Yep.
worst thing to do is to turn off the lights and your mind is still going nonstop. Like that is horrible. So you didn't lay there. I've got to the point sometimes where I was so worried about the next day. I went to sleep and dreamed about everything that I
I
was thinking about.
know you
And then I
mentioned
woke up
that.
like,
That is like a nightmare, girl. That's
did I
a
do
nightmare.
this already? Like, is this deja vu? Like, because the dream feels so real, but
Mhm.
your brain is just not at rest, even if your body went to sleep, which is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, but most importantly, ask for help. You know,
Exactly.
you don't have to explain yourself like I tried, attempted, and failed when I was asking my mom to watch them kids that day when I was on E. I was on negative E. Okay. Like, if it's support exists, use it. No one's
Exactly. There's
judging you
no
as a
shame.
mom.
No shame in
Exactly.
asking for help.
Ask for help. Everyone has been in a situation where they've needed help, and that's okay. And you don't need to reason beyond being tired. It's just, I need help. Please.
And
That's it.
in all honesty, like we said before, people are always going to have something to say. Fuck them. Right? I need help. Can you help me? If they say no,
Yes
move
or
on
no?
to your next person. You don't need to do anything else.
Yep.
You don't need no
Okay.
explanation.
That's
That's
it.
why you need a community. That's why we're here,
Hmm.
to give you tips and tricks of the trade because this is some heavy shit, especially when you're exhausted.
Absolutely.
And remember, give yourself grace. You don't got to be perfect. Like we always say, kids don't need a perfect mom. They just need a happy one. And that requires sleep. We are planning to continue talking about tips and tricks of the trade when it comes to getting sleep, good sleep hygiene, not just like the micro rest moments, but we want to continue to discuss this. So we will be back for part 2.
Exactly. So make sure you go follow us on social media at Single Mom Honey Official on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. We're getting a whole calendar together and a whole lot of content to share with you guys. But in the meantime, just in case you are keep up with us, go ahead and follow us at Single Mom Honey Official. As well, if you have any topics you would like us to discuss, or if you would like to add to this discussion of today, go ahead and send us an email at singlemomhoney@gmail.com. That is singlemomhoney@gmail.com.
Right. Thanks for spending this time with us today. I'm Quay. I cover health.
I'm Aisha. I cover money.
You bring the tea.
We got the honey.
See you next time on Single Mom Honey. Bye.